rich, but I wasn't rich yet. I was just a poor house painter, out of work and looking for whatever came along, and despite all other evidence, I feared that I would be one forever, packing a great wheel of colored chips from one indifferent house to another. I don't mean to suggest mild insecurity here. By any reasonable standard, I was losing my mind. Tessa Larionov was the daughter of a Russian engineer who had immigrated to the United States in 1953 and found his way to Montana, where he set up business building bridges for the railroad. His offices were in Shoto, where Tessa was born and grew up. Tessa's mother was not Russian. Her father had met her in New Jersey, where he first landed. She may have been Italian. Tessa was a powerfully built but attractive woman with black hair, black eyes, and the look of a Tartar, wry and a little dangerous. She was liked by everyone who knew her. Trained in library science, she had worked as an archivist at some very august places, including the Huntington in Pasadena, where she'd met her future employer and our landlord, L. Raymond Hoxie, who had let Tessa talk him into retiring to Montana to run his rare prints business with her help. Hoxie was 81 years old, and his arrangement with Tessa was a means of avoiding assisted living. She was very fond of him, and had wanted to go home to Montana, and so it worked for both of them. Tessa was exactly 30, still single, though she had enjoyed an active love life, leaving in her wake only grateful hearts, or so she said. "They're all still crazy about me," she told me. "That's why I left California." Settling down was of no interest. She'd grown absorbed with the prince, and she wanted to keep her eye on Hoxie. I was 20, but she treated me as if I were even younger, a salute to my retarded behavior. My father had worked briefly as a pipe fitter for the Northern Pacific Railroad. In the course of corporate takeovers, the railroad had actually changed its name several times, but Northern Pacific was the one that stuck in all our minds. It meant something. Burlington Northern meant nothing. Then he had a little stock farm he liked to call a ranch, whose main purpose was to let him keep horses. But he lost it to the bank and went to work for the post office. My mother was a hairdresser and, because of her big mouth and religious mania, had enemies all over southwestern Montana and very few customers. During my childhood, they had had a traveling rug-cleaning business, and the three of us saw most of the West as we towed the steamer behind our van, an old-fashioned steam jenny with an oil-filled crankcase and a picture of a Vargas-type girl in black nylons emblazoned on its side. Wonderful years, really. As an only child, I was all but home-schooled, then run back and forth between our house and the less fashionable of the two grade schools, before going to the local high school, where I was anonymous, never having been allowed by my overprotective mother to learn a sport. My mother joined one Pentecostal church after another, followed by my father, whose skepticism had long ago evaporated in the heat of her enthusiasm. They stopped just short of snake handling. But I liked to fish. I'd fish wherever there was water, and I fished in a lot of ditches where there was no hope of success. I now understand that I was for my age a weirdly underdeveloped human being, ripe for the sort of encounter I had with Tessa Larionov. Even my mother noticed my immaturity. She was always telling me, "Stop staring at people." But she had once given me a gift beyond price. Looking down at me when I was a little boy, she said, "You're an old soul. You've been here before." It was Hoxie whom I got to know first. The day I arranged to rent from him, he happened to have received several Reginald Marsh prints, of which he was very proud, and which he wanted me to see. I acted like I'd heard of Reginald Marsh. I didn't know one painter from another, but I had a hunger for this sort of information. I felt it would be useful later, when I was rich. Hoxie was a pleasant old man, who must have once been very fat, because he had loose flesh hanging from him everywhere, and as many as 7 chins. I always tried to count them while he was speaking to me, but then something in his remarks would break my concentration. This physicality, which bespoke a lifetime of phlegmatic living, gave his discourse on Prince